Tiger Island is a complete animal care facility that provide our tigers with the care they need to live a long and healthy life. The primary purpose of Tiger Island is to raise awareness of the real threat of extinction of tigers in the wild. Through education and fundraising, we can make a positive change to their future. The Dreamworld Wildlife Foundation is the world's largest contributor of money to the globally recognised 21st century tiger, an organisation dedicated to giving wild tigers a future. Thank you for being here and helping us save tigers.
Alright everyone, how about a massive round of applause for our tiger stars and their handlers as they make their way out to the island. Today on my front we have Simon, and he's going to be introducing the tigers you see on the island in just a moment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Tiger Island. We're so excited you could join us today because today you're going to get to witness some of the amazing natural tiger abilities and learn a little bit more about one of the most important conservation messages we believe is facing our world today. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Wildlife Alley, and they call me that here at Dreamworld because, well, I love animals. Now, does anyone else love animals out there? Come on, raise your hand, make some noise! Nice! Well, the animal kingdom is really lucky to have you, and of course, we need more people like you to ensure the survival of these amazing creatures right here behind me. But that does seem like enough chit-chat from me, and we're about ready on the island, so I'll throw it over to you, Simon.
Thank you very much, Wildlife Alley. Welcome to Tiger Island, folks. As you can see, a couple of our beautiful tigers out here. In fact, our biggest tiger out here. I'll introduce him shortly. You'll also notice that our handlers have a pouch on their side. Now, inside the pouch, we've got lots of treats and rewards. Right now, they're getting a bit of frozen milk. We also have milk in the carton and, of course, the tiger's favourite, raw meat. Now, these rewards are great, but they don't guarantee a thing. In fact, sometimes our tigers can lack a bit of motivation. And that's where you folks out there are really important to the success of this presentation. We've learned over the years that your reaction and response to what you're seeing out here, that's also a great reward for the tigers. So if you do see something you enjoy or you think is a bit spectacular, feel free to show your appreciation with lots of clapping, screaming and cheering, and hopefully we'll get a good result from that. Okay, introductions. Now over there with Scott we have Adira. And Adira is a 5.5-year-old female. She's very, very agile. She also is quite aquatic. So to give you a bit of a hint, hopefully towards the end of the presentation, we're going to see they're doing some pretty spectacular stuff around the pool. So over here with Pat, we have Kai. Now Kai is Adira's older brother, older by about 5 months, but you can see here quite a size difference. Adira weighs in a little under 120 kilos. Kai weighs in around about 160 kilos. He's also a very, very tall tiger, and we aim to show that to you during the presentation. So how about we start off, guys, with a big round of applause for Adira and Kai. We'll get into it. Alright, so the first behaviour is a nice simple one. We'll be asking the tigers to do this behaviour with a bit of milk as a reward, and we call it a sit-up behaviour for what will hopefully be a very obvious reason. There they go. Well, let's give Adira a big round of applause. She's sitting in the position nicely. It's a very natural behaviour for a tiger. It's one that they would use when accessing out-of-reach scent marking. Now you may have seen, if you were watching our tigers earlier, scent marking on the underside of the overhanging foliage around the outside perimeter of the fence. Now they're doing that because it's a way of marking territory. And then as other tigers come along afterwards, it's a way of them working out, yes, there are other tigers around, without actually seeing one another. Because in the wild, tigers are very much solitary animals. When they do see each other, it can be very confrontational, very aggressive. So the best way to avoid confrontation, let's say between a young female and a big male like him, is for Adira to be paying attention as she's patrolling. If she smells a scent, a fresh scent of a big male like Kai, well, out there in the wild, she might change direction, go the opposite way. Best way to avoid that confrontation. Or if she's in season and she's ready to breed, that's the sort of scent markings that would encourage him to understand that there is a female in heat around. Now, as you saw there, that's a good height advantage. This next behaviour is a little bit more of a true height advantage. Adira are probably going to be moving up into the rise behaviour first. Let's give her a little round of applause. Kai, as soon as he's ready, which is not right now, Kai here gets a little bit nervous about some stuff that goes on around the rides over there, particularly the pandemonium ride. He gets a bit worried about that. But have a look how tall he is. Pat can't quite stretch him out. Pat's not quite tall enough. But as you can see, here's quite a size difference between the two. And this is behaviour they would normally be doing against the trunk of a tree, dragging their claws down the tree, keeps their claws in good condition. The outer sheath of the claw peels off from time to time, so that allows the new growth to come through. So this whole process is helped along by them dragging their claws down the soft bark of a tree. It's also another way to mark territory. They're visually scarring the trees, and other tigers would recognise that. And when the other tigers come along, they'll actually rub their face up and down on the trunks of the trees in order to get a bit of scent marking off the tree, but also in order to leave some behind. Now, as I mentioned before, the tigers definitely will want to avoid confrontation. When two tigers get serious about having a go at each other, they'll stand up on their back legs and they'll use their freed up front feet to try and knock their opponent off balance. So we're trying to encourage Adira here to do a fighting stance for us. She can be a bit funny about this one sometimes and walks around and around before she decides she's ready to do it. Kai, he only does it when he's actually fighting. So we're not going to show you that at the moment. He won't do it for milk. But let's go. Adira over there. Let's give her a little round of applause. You can see how she's able to stand in position. Now obviously when she's fighting, she's going to be moving around quite a bit, using her tail for balance and then trying to knock her opponent down. So ideally, if she can knock her opponent onto the ground, that's when she'd go around for the bite on the throat or the back of the neck. They get pretty serious about it. We do have some tigers here that need to be kept apart at all times, otherwise they would seriously injure one another. They've got all their claws, they've also got all of their teeth. In my hand I've got a plastic replica of a canine tooth of a tiger. So as I said, this one's plastic. We're going to give you a bit of a look at the real deal. Both Kai and Adira don't mind us showing you their teeth, but obviously this is so we can check their teeth and gums, make sure their dental hygiene is good. If they have a broken tooth, we would need to get that seen to because the infection could be serious. But as you can see by these big canine teeth, they really are the killing tools of a tiger. Behind the tooth, you'll see a naturally formed gap that enables them to bite to the gum line. Your cats and dogs at home are very similar to that. Also similar to your dogs and cats at home are the back teeth. Those back teeth are specifically designed for cutting, not chewing. The reason for this, their jaw does not move sideways. It only moves up and down. And that's the hinge in their jaw. It only allows for that up and down movement, whereas ours, we've got a little bit more movement so we can chew our food. But because theirs is pretty much an up and down movement, that gives it its strength. Their jaw pressure is pretty immense, so you certainly wouldn't want to go finding your finger in there. So let's finish off with a big round of applause. We'll hand it back over to you, Wildlife Ali.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. What a way to kick off that presentation. Alright, we're going to take a quick trip back in time and have a look at the history of these amazing creatures. Now, over a century ago in Southeast Asia, a series of unfortunate events took place that started the decline of the wild tiger population. Now picture this, over 100 years ago there were more than 100,000 tigers roaming wild in Asia. However, today there is less than 4,000, and as you can see up there, that number continues to drop. So what happened? Unfortunately, we happened. As the human population grew, it displaced the tigers from their natural habitat, and therefore it was inevitable that a human and tiger conflict was bound to occur. Now, I will warn you, some of the footage on the screen behind me may be a little bit confronting, but it really does demonstrate the impact that humans have had upon tigers in the wild. Now, we'll be touching on that a little bit later in today's presentation, and of course, all of the amazing work that we're doing right here at the Dreamworld Wildlife Foundation to save tigers in the wild. But until then, I think we're about ready to jump into the next series of behaviours.
Let's jump to it. Yes, here we go. We're here from platform to platform. It is only 3 metres, so it's a pretty easy jump for a tiger. Now, you'll notice as she does the jump, she also flicks her tail upwards. That little tail flick gives her an extra bit of forward momentum, so she's not using as much strength in those back legs. Now, these guys are capable of leaping up to 6 metres. Across the moat there, that's 7 metres, so you're perfectly safe. We haven't had a tiger jump out for ages now. Now, keep your eyes on Adira. We're going to see if we can get her to do a little bit of a launch into the air. She's going to chase Scott down around behind me, and hopefully, for a piece of chicken, fly into the air. Oh, well, that's a little bit of a fly, so let's give her a little round of applause. Okay, it's the big fella's turn. Here goes Kai. You're going to see here, he's really just stepping across these platforms. His measurement from his nose to the tip of his tail is 3 metres. So really, he's not even having to jump. And as you can see here again, getting quite distracted, always looking over towards the pandemonium. If he was to see any of our engineering staff up there, he would probably be running up to the back and not wanting to take part. He gets a bit scared of those guys for some reason. But as you can see with Kai, very, very easy jump for him. And I did mention they are capable of jumping up to 6 metres. When they're chasing prey in the wild, that's when they're going to have to put in 100% effort. And these guys are very good at the sprint. They can do 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, but they don't have much endurance. So let's see if we can get Kai to do a jump for us. He's not as focused as we'd like him to be. That's a big thing to kick it too. Anyway. Okay guys, what we're going to show you now is a little bit more formal training, and you're going to see the handlers pick up the mark boards. They're just bits of wood, as you can see. They're thrown onto the ground, and the tigers understand that if they stand on the mark board, they will be rewarded for it. As you can see it here, moving straight over, getting a piece of meat. So we use this method of training particularly when we need to get nice and close to the tigers to do routine husbandry duties. So simple things like taking a tiger's blood sample, giving them their yearly vaccinations, or maybe taking their temperature. We've even been able to do ultrasounds and x-rays on tigers like Adira over here. We ultrasounded her on a few occasions while she was pregnant, just to confirm, yes, she was in fact pregnant. But she's awake and alert the entire time, very positive, getting lots of treats and rewards. So it's very beneficial for us to train this method of training. On top of that, we've also used this method of training many times to have our tigers involved in different types of media work. Now, getting involved in the media work, it's a bit of fun for us, it's a bit of fun for the cats as well. Most importantly, it's one of those ways we raise extra money for tiger conservation. As unfortunately, folks, Wildlife Valley touched on before, tigers are not doing too well out in the wild. We know their body parts are still used in traditional medicines. Whilst there is demand for those traditional medicines, unfortunately, they will continue to be threatened. So what we do here is try and raise as much money as we possibly can to support groups that are working in the field, in places like Sumatra, in places like Far East and Russia. And that's the footage you're seeing up here behind me, and it's just stopped. But this is Kerinci-Seblat National Park. It's the largest national park in Sumatra. So the funding that we're able to raise here goes into anti-poaching patrols, it goes into education programs for the local villages, but it also goes to prosecuting the people doing the wrong thing and making sure that there is a bit of a future for tigers out there in the wild. As you can see here, they go out, they dismantle snares and all sorts of things. So guys, if you'd like to help us out, there is a couple of direct ways you can. We have donation boxes out the front there. Every cent that goes into them will go to tiger conservation. From time to time, we will have some of these tiger paw prints on sale in the shop, and 100% of what you pay for those will go to tiger conservation. So it's another great way we have to raise a little bit of extra money for tiger conservation. We've raised and donated over $3 million, and that's all gone into projects, as I mentioned, mostly in Sumatra and Far East and Russia, but on the odd occasion as well into India also. Now obviously that's a very serious side of what we like to talk about, but we've got some more spectacular behaviours to show you folks, and you've been a bit quiet. So let me hear in a big loud voice, who would like to see a tiger climb a tree? Excellent. We're in for a treat. Again, here's 160 kilos of tiger. A lot of the early textbooks will tell you tigers cannot climb trees. That is not the case. Primates, birds, they would be under threat from a big hungry tiger like this fella. But as you can see, using all that upper body strength and their claw strength, he's effortlessly got up there. Let's give him a bit of a round of applause, guys. He'll also climb back down very comfortably, and this is something we do encourage our tigers to do. We don't want them just dropping down or launching themselves down. Let's give him another round of applause, guys.
Alright, if you're ever confronted by a tiger in the wild, don't try climbing a tree. Alright, this does bring us to our final behaviour for today's presentation, and you're in luck, because this just happens to be one of my favourite behaviours. Now, Simon and I were talking before, and he's going to let us cue this behaviour, so I'm going to need your help, everyone. I'm going to count to 3, and you're going to yell out, jump, as loud as you can. Let's give it a practice round. You ready? 1, 2, 3! Yeah! There's a lot of us here today. Let's make it louder than that. Come on, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they're all warmed up for you there, Simon.
Awesome. We're just waiting for Kai to get into position. I think he thought he dropped a bit of meat over there and he was on the search for it. So guys, you're going to see Pat just ask Kai to put it down behind the logs. So that's one of the very basics of the early training we try and do. And that's essentially to have a tiger who might be very, very hungry, and who knows you've got a pouch full of meat on your side, just to sit and wait patiently. So that's a slow process, but it is something that our tigers get very good at over the course of time. We simply have to be very patient and very consistent. Alright, so have your cameras ready, get your voices ready. We're hopefully going to see Kai here launch into the air on the count of 3. We're going to go on 3. 1, 2, 3! Oh, that's a big jump from Kai. Big round of applause from him. Now keep your eyes on Adira. Scott's going to pop a bit of chicken into the pool, and hopefully she's going to dive down to the bottom and grab that bit of chocolate. Oh, that was quick. Let's give her a big round of applause.
And let's keep that applause going with Kat, Simon and Scott on the island. So that does bring us to the end of today's presentation. We hope you enjoyed witnessing some of the amazing natural tiger abilities, and of course learning a little bit more about one of the most important conservation messages we believe is facing the world today. Now before you go everyone, we have one more message up on the big screen from our rangers in Sumatra.
Terima kasih atas bantuan dalam pelestarian harimau Sumatera.
Thanks very much for joining us, folks. Keep your eyes on Adira. One more jump